Welcome to The Issue Is. I'm Elex Michaelson, and what a roller coaster week it's been.
Very proud to announce today that we have reached a deal to end the shutdown and reopen the federal government.
After more than a month of paralysis, the U.S. is back in business, but only temporarily. Meantime, the debate continues.
Most people don't want a wall. We want border security.
Okay, so you're willing to shut down the government for those 800,000?
No, I'm not shutting down. I'm not shutting down the government.
800,000.
That's ridiculous.
Warring factions echoing all the way across the country to right here on our set. And in this era of selfies and tweets and me too, the intersection of celebrity and politics has never been busier. With us this week, conservative author Ann Coulter, liberal lawyer Lisa Bloom, and TMZ's Harvey Levin. The Issue Is starts right now. And welcome to The Issue Is. I'm Elex Michaelson on another crazy political day in an era that feels like a TV reality show. Tonight, we're talking to the expert on the blurred lines between politics and entertainment. Harvey Levin is with us. He's a lawyer, reporter, entrepreneur, and founder of TMZ. Harvey often sets the national agenda by breaking some of the biggest stories in the world. Harvey joins us from the TMZ offices. Harvey, welcome to The Issue Is.
It's good to be here, Alex.
Thank you so much. So if you think of politics kind of like a reality show, this shutdown was like a showdown between the president and the Speaker of the House. And it appears like the president blinked first. What do you make of that? And what do you make of these two characters going at it?
Well, I mean, look, number one, Nancy Pelosi is the only person who has effectively figured out how to deal with Donald Trump and stand up to him effectively. That said, I have such a problem. Look, I mean, I think what Trump did was ridiculous. And I think, you know, the idea of leveraging his wall at the expense of 800,000 poor government workers who were put through what they were put through is just cruel. But that said, I hate the idea of saying, you know, Trump lost, Congress won, Pelosi won, because what happens is, look, the reason government is dysfunctional is because they don't understand how to negotiate. Negotiation is not about killing your opponent. Negotiation is where both sides can feel reasonably good about an outcome so they can both come together and reach a result. But what's happened is you've got to win and they've got to lose. It's a zero-sum game. It is no way to negotiate on any side. And the idea that it's now being cast that way makes me worried sick that in 3 weeks, we're going to go right back to it again, because it's got to be about a winner and a loser, and there's no such thing as compromise anymore.
It seems like there's a lot of incentive right now not to compromise based off of the way the system is set up. Let's talk for a moment about Roger Stone, who was arrested and indicted today. And moments after appearing in court, he had this very strange press conference, and this is the first thing that he said.
As I have always said, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about.
So Roger Stone has always thought of himself as a showman. What did you make of this whole scene?
Well, I mean, it's almost like a cartoon, Alex. I mean, first of all, you know, any guy who has a tattoo of Richard Nixon on his back, you got to wonder. I mean, you got to wonder. And then he goes out like this, you know, the Nixon, you know, the famous Nixon leaving Washington, D.C. pose. I mean, the guy is off the rails. And, you know, the only thing I can think of is this, that, you know, he's acting like he will go down before he turns on President Trump. Well, guess who else said that?
Michael Cohen said he would take a bullet for Donald Trump.
Exactly. So what we see today is not necessarily what we're going to see in a month.
Let's talk about your business, because TMZ, of course, known as an entertainment site, but lately there's been a lot of politics mixed in there too, because it seems like everything's kind of all jumbled into one pot recently. There was an article about Rosie O'Donnell talking about Trump, saying that Trump will be arrested. We saw the Golden State Warriors meeting with President Obama instead of meeting with President Trump. They also met with Speaker Nancy Pelosi. You covered the whole Covington kids and the whole mess. Both sides have been animated over that. From a business side, how do the political stories do in comparison to some of the other traditional entertainment stories you do?
You know, I don't think you can say that we've come to politics. I think politics has come to celebrity. Yeah. And it's been that way for a long time. AOC, to me, is one of the most remarkable political stories I've seen in my lifetime. And she is such a star just weeks after she got there. We are fascinated by her. She does super well on our site, on our television shows. People are fascinated by famous people. And they could be famous in sports, they could be famous in politics, but they want to know what's behind the, the issues or the stats. They want to know about the people.
How do you think that TMZ, sort of broadly, has changed the culture?
We started this at a time when I had been doing news for many, many years. I had done an entertainment show, and it just occurred to me that so much of what was being put out there was just false, that the city was being run by publicists. They would put a story out that maybe wasn't true, but people would run it because they wanted to get the next interview with so-and-so. And it just felt false to me, and red carpets always kind of felt, contrived to me. And I just thought, look, what if you do a news operation that, it's not about finding the bad things or the good things. It's just about the real things about people and about people care about.
You have like as sophisticated a knowledge of kind of the backroom way things are really working as anybody. And I'm sure there's a whole lot of stuff that doesn't end up on the site that you've heard over the years, which would probably be a really interesting story. But can you believe, knowing everything that you know and knowing Donald Trump as a cultural figure for all the years that you have, can you still believe that Donald Trump became the president of the United States?
No, I can't, and I don't think he has a belief system. I mean, I don't think that I know somebody who was close to him when he announced that he was going to run for president. And just before he did, this person found out he was going to run as a Republican. And the person went up to him and said, I thought you were more of a Democrat. And his reaction to this person was, Democrat, Republican. And it made me think that he is, his view is so, I got to win, that it's like, what do I need to do to win? And it's not so much about a belief system as it is a means to an end. And I think that's really bad.
Last question. You were able to sort of look into the crystal ball with TMZ and see the future of where media was going. Where do you think media is going next?
I've had this kind of view for a long time of something that my staff jokes with me about it, because I've always talked to them about this thing called inner vision. It's kind of a hybrid between the internet and television. But what I see is, I don't want to make you nervous because you're a TV guy, but in 10 years or so, I don't really see television anymore, nor do I see the internet. What I see is a combination of the two, because when you go to a television set, you can turn on the TV and you can get two things, entertainment and information. You can go to the internet, you can get entertainment and information, and you can get both of those on that screen. So why do you have to go separately? Why can't you start producing entertainment and information experiences that use assets from television and the internet? And if you can combine them as inner vision, then it's not television anymore, and it's not the internet anymore. It's a new, different experience. And, I've always kind of seen that 10 years down the road. Whether it happens or not, I don't know, but that's my view.
Maybe I can get a job with you.
Well, no. I'll tell you why you can't. I'll tell you why you can't. Because rumor has it that you're 7'4", and it would be humiliating standing next to you.
Yes. No, you'd always look good, Harvey. The king of Hollywood, Harvey Levin, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Elex.
All right, and up next, Ann Coulter versus Lisa Bloom on the future of immigration. And as we go to break, a little music from LA's own Maroon 5, one of the performers at the Super Bowl halftime show in Atlanta.
Can you come here, please? 'Cause I wanna be with you.
All those years ago, Pink Floyd sang about another brick in the wall, but apparently that's not going to be happening for President Trump. anytime soon. The big story of the day, President Trump announcing the government's back open, but only for 3 weeks. No wall funding for now. So the issues of immigration and border security remain heated. Conservative commentator Ann Coulter helped convince the president to shut down the government in the first place. This week, she joined us on our set, along with Lisa Bloom, before the president reopened the government. Their debate remains relevant tonight as this fight is far from over. So here's our conversation. Ann Coulter is a 13-time New York Times best-selling author. Her newest book is Resistance is Futile: How the Trump-Hating Left Lost Its Collective Mind, and recently the left has kind of lost its mind about her. Lisa Bloom is one of the best-known attorneys in the country and a progressive activist. Lisa, too, has been a focus of mainstream media for her involvement in high-profile cases of sexual assault harassment, greatly fueled by the hashtag #MeToo and Time's Up movements. Ladies, welcome to both of you. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, Ann, let's start with you since you're so much at the focus of this political debate right now. There are some people who say that you're sort of driving the government essentially like the president right now. There's this cartoon that we saw that was out there that shows you as almost a tarantula with President Trump in the middle and Rush Limbaugh basically suggesting the fact that you're keeping him in a cage. How do you respond to some of that? Do you feel like you are kind of running the country right now?
I wish it would be much better run. No, I mean, this is silly. It's Trump's base. He promised every day for 18 months to build a wall. He kicked the can down the road for 2 years. So I mean, if they want to take me and Rush as a stand-in for the base, okay, fine. But it's not me. It's not Rush. I mean, if anything, it's the news. It's the Drudge Report. It's Breitbart alerting Trump's base that he was about to sell out again.
So is it worth it to shut down the government over the wall?
Well, is it worth it to shut down the government over not funding the wall at 0.11% of the federal budget? I mean, this is really silly. Yes, restart the government, fund this tiny, tiny amount of wall. If Trump wanted to take that amount of money and build a gigantic statue to himself, what, you're shutting down the government over that? Who cares if it doesn't work, as they're claiming? Who cares if it's immoral, as is absurd? It's 0.11% of the federal budget. I promise you, there's a lot more going to a lot more useless things, but that's not why they're shutting it down. It's because they know it will be effective. That's why they need to shut it down.
Lisa, is this worth it?
Yeah, but this is not about 0.11% of the budget. This is about human beings who can't pay their rent. 800,000 federal workers and the family members that they support who are going to food banks in their TSA shirts. This is what we have become. I mean, this is appalling.
And your response to that, because President Trump has said, blame me for the shutdown. I take responsibility for this.
Yeah, that was an idiotic thing to say, and we've heard it 1 million times on TV. Okay, we got the message. He said something stupid. Congratulations, media. Fund the wall, and those 800,000 people go back to work.
I mean, do you feel any responsibility for some of those folks, for the people that aren't working right now?
No, why should I? I'm not an elected official.
But you're advocating a position that hurts real people.
So are you.
Let's have a robust debate about immigration, but let's take the foot off the neck of the federal workers who are real people who are suffering week after week while this goes on.
Okay, let's do it by funding 0.11% of the federal budget.
But most people don't want a wall.
On the substance itself, and regardless of what percentage of the budget it is, there's a lot of Democrats that say we should not build a wall at all. It's a bad thing to do. Do you agree with that?
I don't think we need a wall. We have a net loss of people to Mexico every year. The wall is a medieval solution to a modern issue. If somebody walks 1,000 miles to come here, that's the kind of person I would love to hire. These are contributing members of our society, and we don't need a wall.
Ann?
Well, the medieval solution is a really dumb cliche. A roof is a medieval solution to a problem of rain falling into your house. A wheel is a medieval solution to dragon stuff.
So a question about you. Mike Huckabee said that basically if this is so bad, Ann Coulter, if she's got the way to get it done, then let her run for office. What's your response to Mike Huckabee and people say, why don't you just run for office?
Yeah, well, I didn't want to run for office. I was waiting for a position in the Huckabee administration. That didn't work out.
So that's your way of, your response to that? Would you ever run for office?
Why doesn't he run for office? Oh, wait, I remember.
Yeah.
No, there's a group now that is insisting that I run for office. I just got an email before coming over here. I forget what the group is, that if Trump doesn't build the wall, Ann Coulter should run for president. And while, yes, they're right, totally right, I would make a fantastic president, I am against women working, so not in the cards.
Okay. Well, she's joking there, folks.
Well, I'm against this woman working.
Okay. We'll get back to yesterday's fiery debate in a moment, but first, Ann's reaction tonight to President Trump giving in and opening up the government without that border wall funding. This is what she tweeted out, quote, "Good news for George Herbert Walker Bush. As of today, he's no longer the biggest wimp to ever serve as President of the United States." Here's how Congresswoman Karen Bass, who was our guest last week, reacted. Speaker Pelosi should give the State of the Union since she's obviously the one running the country. Back with more after this.
That's funny.
Welcome back. We're listening to Unstoppable by Sia. This is the song choice from Lisa when
This
we
is my
asked
song.
her song. Why is this your song?
Unstoppable, because we have to keep fighting for what we believe in and be unstoppable.
Well, something tells me you're going to continue to do that as you join Ann Coulter on this this panel discussion. Let's talk for a moment about Michael Cohen. He was supposed to testify before the House Oversight Committee. It was going to be one of the biggest spectacles of a Trump era, which is filled with really big spectacles. But then Cohen suddenly said he's not going to do it, citing threats from the president. Here's what he told Fox News host Jeanine Pirro.
He should give information maybe on his father-in-law, because that's the one that people want to look at, because where does that money? That's the money in the family. And I guess he didn't want to talk about his father-in-law. He's trying to get his sentence reduced.
So, Lisa, is that witness tampering?
It could be. That alone is not sufficient for witness tampering, but behind the scenes, if there's more to that, for example, if federal agents are investigating Michael Cohen's father-in-law at Trump's direction, you know, it's so offensive that he does this so openly. I think we should all agree not to go after the family members of people. This should be about Michael Cohen, what he did, whether there's corroboration for his story or not. Leave his family out of it.
Ann?
Well, we agree again. No, that is not witness tampering. Oh my gosh, look back the things Bill Clinton did to all the women who accused him, including having the IRS audit Paula Jones. That's actually government action. No charges brought for that. No, I think what we're seeing now, and yeah, there could be something we don't know about, but that's, as I describe in Resistance is Futile, this is what news is like in the Trump era. It's not what we all know. It's, yeah, but what if Trump robbed a bank? Then could we impeach him? Then could we impeach him? Okay, but he hasn't robbed a bank yet, MSNBC.
But this is what Trump actually
so yeah,
said.
Maybe in the background they're threatening the family, but it's absurd to call that witness tampering. Everything Cohen is saying is just, please like me, media, please like me, please, please.
But isn't he clearly threatening the family there? And his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, threatened as well?
And it's so demeaning to the office of the presidency.
What they want is for Trump not to be able to say anything. So what Trump and Giuliani are saying is, well, you can't believe the other stuff they're giving him. It's just like, you know, any kind of anybody who flips and testifies against the defendant. Well, what deal did you get here? What deal did you get to say that? That's all they're saying. To act like this is a threat just shows you how insane the media is in the era of Trump.
But this has nothing to do with Michael Cohen's business or his father-in-law. This has to do with the central question of whether he's telling the truth when he says that Trump directed him to lie. And I deal with witnesses who flip in my practice every day. It's very common. And the way that you deal with it is you look for corroboration. Guess what? Michael Cohen has recordings. We have checks. We have a lot of backup to his story. Does anybody really believe that the Stormy Daniels payment was not something that was known by Donald Trump? Come on. Trump himself has changed his story multiple times in that, from I don't know to yes, Michael Cohen, yes, I directed it.
Well, that's why it will be so interesting to see that Mueller report, and let's hope that it's public, just because it would be good for everybody to see.
Right, and not talk about these BuzzFeed claims that, maybe there's a recording.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, but we want to play some more music. This is your choice now, Darius Rucker's Wagon Wheel. We're going to play. Why this song?
I just think it's zippy.
Okay.
I like this song too.
There we go. Finding more reason to agree. A reminder that this show and all of our past shows, including past episodes with Ann and Lisa, are available in podcast form. Just search for The Issue Is, and please consider subscribing. Love that music. Preparations well underway in Atlanta for next Sunday's Super Bowl between the Rams and the Patriots this weekend. Liza B, Pablo Alsina, and me all headed to Atlanta to begin our nonstop live coverage. I'll be there starting Monday morning on Good Day LA. We'll have a special show during this time slot next Friday night. Welcome back to our panel, Ann Coulter and Lisa Bloom. So, Rams, Patriots, who do you got?
I'm more of a baseball fan, so I'm utterly disloyal with football teams. Consequently, since I'm in LA, I would like to root for the Rams and have your viewers at least like me for this. However, in 2015, I rooted for the Seahawks against the Patriots, and I don't think I'm making that mistake again.
Okay. Lisa.
I'm an LA girl, born and bred. Definitely go Rams.
All right, I love that. Rams, baby, for me as well. That's all for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week from Atlanta. So as we go to away, a little welcome to Atlanta from Luda. Have a great weekend.
What's the weather going to be like in Atlanta?
Cold.